back on this channel for a bit. This is first thing I want to say is that I have a new film out called Sintra, the Sintra Code, about Sintra in Portugal, dealing heavily with any of you interested in things like Knights Templar, the European magical tradition, Freemason, Rosicrucianism, tarot. You might enjoy that. It looks quite beautiful and it's getting rave reviews. That's on the open source occult TV channel. It only just came out the other day, 2 days ago. I'm going to make another video soon. I have more time now. I've been doing some experiments with the sigil, a new way of imagining the sigil in terms of it actually being a machine as much as a graphic. And I've been doing some experiments with that with surprisingly good results. I'll make a proper decent video on this new approach to the sigil that I've been experimenting with, and so that'll be on open source occult TV as well. I'm basically not on Facebook anymore. What happened there was I signed a management deal, and I have a manager who's basically hires some people, also volunteers, who manage my social media profile, so it gives me more time to go off and actually do work. So I'm a big fucking snob now. Not that, it's just that literally it was too much work, and it was just becoming too big to manage from by myself. So I can actually just work on writing and producing films. This management system is now taking over my social media. So if you send me messages on Facebook and they don't get answered, or you send Bob's and Virginie, remember it's going to some people who are actually managing my Facebook page and not me. But that's what's happening there. I'm not becoming inaccessible. It's just that there's only so much life left, and there's only so much me to give, and I have to manage my time very difficultly, and it's got to very succinctly, and it's got to the point now where I can't do it on my own, and I have a team to work with, and that's just life. Now brings us to the topic of this film: sacrifice. Now, I've covered this a little bit in a video I made last summer, but I want to talk about this a bit more. There's a lot of misunderstanding about what the term sacrifice actually means. People immediately think, oh, human sacrifice, because of Christian propaganda against pagans and this kind of thing. And while indeed, yes, human sacrifice did happen in the past, and who knows, probably still does among some wackos. Well, we don't, those Mexican drug gangs, it goes on. The majority of sacrifice was giving up something that was meaningful in order to destroy a part of yourself to move on and achieve something more, to better yourself, to improve your work, to improve your life, to improve your relationships. And that's what I've done with social media. I used to have a lot of fun and a lot of crack on social media, but I had to, in the end, that's not what I'm about. You know, I'm an author, an artist and a writer, and I have to write, create and make films and paint. And that's my dharma. I have no choice there. And so I had to give that up in order to work and improve on that. And the Sintra film, you can see yourself, the benefits were immediate. I produced a beautiful film with a lot of good information. The sacrifice worked. Now, sacrifice could be something like, if you have an addiction problem, you're an alcoholic. You'll have a lot of people who have most success in quitting alcoholism. It's not by going to things like Alcoholics Anonymous and hanging out with a bunch of whingers who talk about all drug addicts who talk about what they did to get high or what they did to get drunk. You've got to have a symbolic way of doing it. The most successful people I know that have quit drink have literally got it and poured it down the sink, or poured it, if it was good wine or beer, fed it to a tree, like an oak tree or some other tree. And then that was it. That was the sacrifice. The money they had spent on the booze, the relief, the addiction that would give to their momentary relief to their addiction that would give, they've thrown it away and they've sacrificed it for something better. That's a classic sacrifice. Another sacrifice would be to, sacrificing a relationship. Ending a relationship. You say you're with somebody and it could be amazing, sexual relationship, but the rest of the relationship is flat and dead. You could literally, to get yourself a better relationship that's more appropriate to you, or your partner could have an alcohol or drug problem or something, sacrificing that for something else. Now, I'm not saying you should always do it or you have to do it, but I'm just saying, I'm just trying to tell you this is what sacrifice really is. Sacrifice can be giving up money to a poor person. Sacrifice can be sacrificing your time to help out someone who's an elderly person or a disabled person. It's not about sacrificing babies. It's not about sacrificing virgins. It's about sacrificing yourself. This is why those sacrifices that involve things like sacrificing a baby or a virgin won't work, because they're not sacrificing themselves. The reason why they sacrificed the virgin was because no one could have sex with her, so they could say, "Oh, well, you never enjoy the first time of what's that phrase, popping her cherry or something like that." That's where the virgin thing came from. But it wasn't really anything they were sacrificing there, because that was black magic, so those sacrifices were always doomed to failure. Sacrificing an animal and giving the food to the poor, that would work. I'm not saying don't do that. We don't live in energy is much more abundant. If you read my book Sorcery, I constantly make the point that energy is much more abundant now than it was thousands or hundreds of years ago. There's a lot more energy available now. You can sacrifice in many ways. Sacrifice would be giving up instead of spending money on a season ticket for your favourite football team, sacrificing that and doing something for your child's future, or giving it to someone in your family who needed it, or someone you loved that needed it. Sacrifice would be the Sting song, "If you love somebody, set them free." Not trying to hold on to somebody, not trying to control somebody's life. That's black magic, and that's actually quite a bad one, and that's doomed to rebound. Sacrifice is to walk into the labyrinth and look at yourself in the mirror, the depth of the labyrinth, and say to yourself, I'm fucked up in lots of ways. I gotta fix this. That's sacrifice. Why sacrifice works and prayer doesn't? Because when prayer is kind of a welfare with the universe, you're begging a supreme being to give you welfare. With sacrifice, it's not welfare. You're making a strategic, and you're making a real investment in the cosmos. Therefore, you're investing in the cosmos, and that's why you get more back from sacrifice. You get nothing back from prayer. Prayer doesn't work. It doesn't work. Even the Catholics had to eventually admit that, and they brought back all kinds of sacrificial rituals of like charity and stuff like that. That's all about. This is why a lot of these celebrities who have studied the cult spend so much time doing charity work, because they won't hold on to their power and wealth if they're not doing it. They're not sacrificing babies in Bohemian Grove. They're sacrificing their free time doing charity work. Now, I know there's a lot of altruism, but that's not real charity, but a lot of them do real charity. So that's what sacrifice is. Sacrifice is giving up one thing in order to get another. And it doesn't only benefit you, it benefits others, it benefits society, it benefits the world. Remember, it is a specific investment in the universe. You're investing in the universe, not just yourself. You're not begging, you're not being selfish, you're not being greedy. You're giving up something for something. I'll give you a quick example of how sacrifice immediately benefits. If you spend all your time, now I'm concerned about the mass flooding of Islamic immigration into Europe, but I recognize, I understand it, I see it for what it is, and then I get the fuck away, okay? If you continuously obsess over things like that, you will be throwing away your life. When you obsess over something you can't change, you're sacrificing yourself rather than making a sacrifice, and no good will come from that. You're sacrificing your ability to create better things. You see it with these people who are obsessed with Trump. Morning, noon and night they're on the Trump page. You know what they're sacrificing to? Them. They're sacrificing themselves to Trump. This is what they haven't learned. See, this is why I'm not bothered by all the haters I get, because they're all feeding me. They're just feeding me. I wish they wouldn't do it, not because it doesn't hurts me or anything. What it does is it feeds them. If you hate somebody, you're sacrificing your life energy for someone that you hate. You're actually validating them, you're venerating them, you turn them into a god. You're turning to your worship. You see, if you hate someone enough to attack them constantly online or in videos or in websites, what you've done is you've elevated that person to being a god. You're actually venerating them. And every time you update that website, you're invoking the person as a god. This is why all these celebrities who get constantly attacked in the media and politicians, it never affects them. They all die rich and all grow old, wealthy and successful and rich. You ever notice that? They all do. Why? Because all these fuckwits who spent their lives attacking them have fed away their life energy to them and sacrificed their life energy to them in order to feed them and venerate them as gods, while depleting their own life energy. It's as simple like hating the royal family. What's the point of that? Just see them for what they are, and that's the end of it. But when you obsess, when you develop that attachment, you develop those strategic bonds, and those energetic bonds. Every time you put hate towards someone, you're feeding them. Every time you despise someone, you're feeding them. Every time you sacrifice your stability of mind to them, as you see with Trump, you're making them into a god, and you're ensuring their legendary epic godhood status. The Vedas, the Greek mythology, are filled with all kinds of stories dealing with this. So that's what sacrifice is. The giving up of something to attain something else. But be careful how you sacrifice. If you hate someone or run a smear campaign against someone, you're sacrificing your own life energy for that other person. If you do something out of the goodness of your heart, or to make your life better as a person, or to produce something better for yourself and the ones you love, you're making a sacrifice as an investment into the universe, and you are actually not only improving yourself, but you're improving the world. So stop praying and start sacrificing. Take care. Have a nice weekend.